Good evening, everybody. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I'm in a heck of a 3 weeks, and so here we are. Let me take a look at what I posted that I'd like to work on tonight, because we are going to get back to quite a, hopefully, a very serious amount of work coming up, and let me reload this. I've been working kind of hard at trying to get some stuff prepped and ready to go for going into the future harmonica wise, and I think we have come up with a pretty good plan here. And the main feature of the plan is backing tracks, right? So in other words, when you are playing your harmonica, we love it. It's a fun thing. It makes your heart stronger. It makes your lungs stronger. It's all these really great things. Could be louder, Vic says. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. Let me take a look at... Sure it's not... I think I can fix that. Hold on. Audio input volume. Let's not do that. Oh, I see what happened. Let me try this. All right. Hopefully that will make the change, Vic. I upped it to 5. You let me know if it needs to be even louder. I can go up to 9. But usually 5 does the trick. Better. Okay. Let me know if it's still too quiet. Once we start playing harmonica, obviously that gets really loud. But what we were talking about is, and thank you, Vic is my sound engineer, and she always stays on top of it for me. And then what we're going to be working on a lot more is backing tracks and trying to make it sound as pretty as we can when we play. So whether you ever play for anybody else or not isn't really the point. The point is that when you do play, we want it to sound amazing. And so starting tonight with By the Light of the Silvery Moon, we are going to have what I think is going to create a really kind of super fun and exciting way to make your music be really awesome. And so let me go put this in where it needs to be. By the Light of the Silvery Moon, January 1st. Probably should have changed the date, Gary. And all right, so we had a previous version of By the Light of the Silvery Moon that was diatonic, and I have changed this now to include the whole entire song top to bottom, and it is for chromatic. Okay, so if you have the old By the Light of the Silvery Moon, that's a different thing, and we're not going to work on that one. We will be working on this one. So let me go back to the website and just make sure. Under the weekly schedule, that's where we will meet, and usually it's going to be best to wait until just right before our meeting to get the sheet music. Okay, today we'll be playing Shenandoah. We've been playing that forever, and nothing has changed on it yet. And then we're going to play Aloha Oe, which I like playing because its timing is weird on it. And then we're going to cover By the Light of the Silvery Moon, the chromatic version. So those are the 3 songs you want to have. They're in the weekly schedule. Hey, LG. And with those in mind, I guess what I should say is just make sure you're not looking at By the Light of the Silvery Moon in the diatonic stuff. I don't even think I put that on the website, to be honest, because I think I knew I was going to be changing it. Diatonic. Yes, there is a one on the diatonic sheet, and we're not going to play that. And I will clear the website up so it's very clear which one we're using. And it's obviously not clear right now. So the songs we're going to work on for sure, go to the front page of the website, click on weekly meeting, and then let's play the stuff that's there. And then I'll go through and make it clearer on the website which By the Light of the Silvery Moon is which. You can play it on diatonic if you only play the melody. or I'm sorry, the verse, the main idea, and it works on Diatonic. But when you include the entire song, which includes this big long intro, which is actually kind of fun to play, there's a bunch of sharps in that, and so you have to use Chromatic. So, and the nice part is the new By the Light of the Silvery Moon has this massive backing track that I created. What it is I'm taking the music that I gave to the Rocky Mountain Ukulele Orchestra, adding in a harmonica track to it, and that's what you guys are playing. So you're actually playing the massive backing track plus kind of thing. So hopefully that'll be fun today. We'll see how it goes. And we'll get more specific when I get there. Starting next week, we will do the scales. I was going to start them this week and I forgot. So next week we'll add those into our regular activity. And let's play Diatonic. Let's warm up with Shenandoah. Back in the day when we first wrote this, this was a very popular piece of music for us as harmonica players, and it's just a nice tune. I don't have any relationship to it whatsoever, but it's just fun to play. We're going to play it through 3 times. And again, we're just warming up our harmonicas, making sure they're sounding good. As I look through it, I see some 7s, and that's it. The nice part about this is there's a couple moments where it's just beautiful, right? And so we will get, I'll take a look at the backing track on this one and just make sure it's as good as we can. A lot of violins probably will add into it. We'll turn it into something nice. All right, Shenandoah, 3 times through. Yeah, 5 is too many. So 3 times through. Let's see how it goes. First note is a blow 3. Dum bum 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 ba da 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 dum. Pay attention. We do have a couple of slurs actually. So remember how I always want you to go toot 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 between every note, unless it's a slur. And so at measure 2, da. So it's -6 6 da. So you don't want to push, you don't want to hit, you don't want to put tongue there. Same thing at measure 4. Da 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 dum. So 5 6. And then you have another slur. It's in measure 6. -4 4. Da. And so those situations you don't tongue, but the rest of it you do. Okay? Let's see how we come out. 3 times through, we'll figure it out by the end, right? 1, 2, 3. my note says low chord at the end, right? And you will remember that you can blow a C chord no matter where you are on the harmonica. So some songs sound better with a high chord, some with a low chord. Most of them probably sound better with no chord whatsoever. Hey Vic, isn't it a pretty song? Yeah, it's a really pretty song. And I will go in and look at the backing track just to make sure that it's deserving of that. If I click play on the MP3, kind of on the fast side. So again, I've been noticing on basically all of my arrangements from the olden times that they're too fast. And so what I will probably be doing is sticking it back up at 80 BPM instead of 100 BPM, just to give you a little bit more time to do your harmonica thing. And also I think that from the stuff that I've been listening to online, when guys have backing tracks and they just sound fuller and more fancy, it's not that it distracts from the harmonica playing, but what it does is give you a chance to really develop those sounds better when you're not rushing through everything. We'll talk about that on the last song tonight, because I do want you eventually to be able to rush through that one. It's just a little bit more fun. All right, we're warmed up. Harmonica's going. Let's go take a look at Aloha Oe. And of course, this is a song you would only have run into if you know Elvis. Or me, right? Or if you're from Hawaii, you know it. But it's not a super popular song, but it is really a fun song. I think in terms of the musical stuff that's in it, I'm going to add a chromatic line to this because I want it to be bigger. But on your harmonic, on this guy, we're going to go up to -9. Right then, which is going to be a bummer. And so again, I'm constantly trying to talk you into buying a low F harmonica. And when we get done with this, I'll show you how much nicer it sounds on a lower pitched harmonica. But let's talk about a few things that I think are important on this piece. 6, 7, 8, right? Ba bum ba bum 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 bum. So when you're looking at the sheet music, right? This is why when you go out on the internet, there's tabs everywhere. They're free, blah blah blah. But they don't give you enough information usually to get really hot, sophisticated music. And it's why a lot of times when you hear people talking about harmonica online, they're like, "Oh, play melodies at the beginner stuff," and that's because they're playing from just the tabs and they're not worrying about the subtlety and details of things. And in order to get the details and the advanced level music right, it's a little more complicated. When you're looking at the sheet music here, you've got a dotted quarter note, an eighth note, a dotted eighth note, and a 16th note, all packed in next to each other in measure 1. And so, hey Kat, welcome in. So getting that timing right is really a pretty, not advanced skill, but you've got to be a little more attentive to what you're doing. And I will probably mess it up when I play it without the backing track. And again, if I take a listen to the backing track, 2, 3, dum, dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. So really fast, but there's a lot of cool rhythmic things going on there, and we want to try to get them as close as we can, right? So pay attention to measure 1 and all of the different rhythms that are happening, note values that are hanging out in there. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about going way high on the harmonica to that -9. It's always a crapshoot whether it's going to go well. How do we make sure that the high notes come out of your harmonica properly? That's your breathing, right? So, in other words, if you're breathing from your chest or your neck, you're not going to be able to control those high notes. But if you're breathing from your belly, and I literally move my belly like a bellows, it does make it easier for those notes to come out correctly. Whether they will at this moment or not, we don't know. We're going to find out. And And when they don't come out right, you just keep moving forward. You're going to make a lot of bad high notes on a C harmonica, and that's why we own low F harmonicas. All right, now let's see. There is a low C harmonica. I don't own one, but that's really, really low. Let's see, what else should I talk about with this? 2 times through. Remember, when you get to measure 16 the second time, you don't play measure 16. Jump straight over and finish up. And again, if you look down at measure 11, you've got preceding, the pickup notes to measure 11 are 2 16th notes, then a dotted eighth, another 16th note, and then a pack of eighth notes. And so just be aware, da da dum, ba dum ba. You know, it's going to go fast through those sections, and yeah. So let's see how it goes. Okay, 3-chord song, which is kind of nice. So if you're playing, if you have somebody that you're going to play with, they have this is not that hard of a song from a chord perspective, but pretty darn hard from a melody perspective. All right, here we go. Aloha Oe, blow 6 to get us started, and way slower than the MP3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Whoops. Keep going. That's a nice song, man. Yeah, so getting the high notes are really, really like, yeah. So you're like, man, those notes are killing my ears. Switch out to your low harmonica. I happen to have a low F, and I think Low F is about as low as I can stand it. I think low C is even lower than this one by a noticeable amount, and I think I eventually threw away my low C harmonica. But you could go on the websites and figure out which one's lower. It would be lovely to just have a lower C and you could just play this with the same arrangement, but it gets really like super floppy down here, and I just don't think it's a good investment. Let me just give you a sense of same exact song. Now it's in a different key. So music theory, guys. Let's take a minute to talk about it. This song is in C, and it only has 3 chords. So the 3 chords it's always going to have is 1, 4, and 5. Okay? Almost always. There's no such thing as always in music, but almost always, when a song is in whatever key, if you put the key here, a key of C, these 2 notes here are also going to show up as chords in the song. So if I'm in the key of C, D, E, F, and G, okay, are going to show up in that. Okay, so I know if I'm playing from the sheet music, I don't have to think. I'm just going to strum those chords. But let's say I go and I say, hey, guitar player, instead of playing it in C, let's play it in F, low F harmonica, right? So what are your 4 chords now? So instead of C, F, and G, we're going to take F, boom, 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 and move him over here. Now it's F, G, A, B, and in the key of B, in the key of F, all B's are flat, so it's B flat and C. So if you're with a guitar player, you're going to say, we're going to do it in the key of F, and we're going to play it with F, B flat, and C. Okay, the guitar player is going to be like, no, I'm not doing that because F and B flat suck on guitar. A ukulele player would probably be like, oh, I like F. I don't really like B flat, but I'll live with it. And C is my jam, right? And so in this case, instead of G, it shows a G7 as your Gs. So instead of a C here, you'd play a C7. Okay, so just remember that as you were thinking about working with other players. A lot of times you can bring more information. Most guitar players will just put a capo up on the neck, and then they'll just still play it in the key of C, but the capo will be somewhere up on the neck. For us, as knowledgeable musicians, you just want to know the theory behind it. Every song we play pretty much on Diatonic is going to be have a 1, 4, 5 chord on there, and then when you transpose it into a different key, you just take whatever the new key is, put it here on your thumb, and then remember 4 and 5 are going to show up. So if I were to play this, I couldn't play it with the original sheet music as written, but I can play it in the key of F as long as whoever's playing the chords knows to change those chords. And it's not complicated, but it is something they have to know. And then it would sound a lot more enjoyable. Let me play it for you real quick. Maybe not the whole thing. Isn't that nice? So in other words, what you're thinking about is, my goodness, that sounds nice. I think I'm going to play it on an F harmonica instead of a C harmonica so that I get those high-pitched sounds of the C out of the picture. Plus, it's way easier to play up on this end of the harmonica when you have a lower pitched harmonica. Okay, how I will solve this for all of us is I'll just put a chromatic line on there and then it'll be low and then you won't have to think about it again. But I want you to know the music theory behind it anyway, whether you ever use it or not. Just knowing that that's a thing in music, that when we change key, we also change the chords. If the chords are 1, 4, 5 in this key, they're still going to be 1, 4, 5 in the next key. It's just that the one chord changes. Okay, really nice song. Now let's get into the new music. I'm very excited about this, actually, you guys. So let's go grab By the Light of the Silvery Moon. Make sure that you have the chromatic version, not the diatonic version. So it should say January 1st, 2025 on here. And then here's what you should know. Okay, there is a ukulele. There are two ukulele parts, a low G ukulele part, a baritone part, a bass part, and a lyrics line all on this piece on your backing track. Okay, so when I hit the backing track on here, let's get rid of this one and go get rid of that one, and I go to, where am I? What will happen is the backing track is set for 120, which I think is possible to play that. I was playing it today. It's not exactly easy, but I think you'll be able to do it. And then I slowed it down for an MP3 slowed, okay? So on the website, on the weekly schedule part, it says By Light of Silvery Moon, PDF, MP3, and MP3 slow. And so the MP3 slow is probably what you want to practice with first, but your goal is to get it up to the regular MP3 speed, because the ukulele orchestra has this exact piece of music that they're working on, and what would be kind of cool is we'll get a decent recording of them playing it, and then we will play a harmonica over the top of real people playing it, and it should be kind of fun. But let me give you just a sense of, if you didn't have a chance to hit MP3, here's kind of what you're going to be hearing as your backing track. Now, we don't play yet. Now we play. Okay, so the idea is, again, you got a multi-piece thing of music, and our job as a ukulele, or as a international harmonica marching band, and we're international because of LG, by the way. Whew. Okay. We only play our part. Everybody else is playing their part. We don't care what they're doing. We got to stay focused in on our part, and then everything else will work itself out. So when I was arranging it, the ukuleles, the high G ukuleles, usually have the melody until the second part, when I switch it over and I let the baritones and low G ukuleles take it, and then I switch whoever's doing, the doodaddy kind of stuff. And so on the MP3, the first four measures, you're going to hear all this stuff going on, and you don't play. You've got to count in. You'll know when dum 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 da 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 dum. Okay, so that's what we're going to play. And then remember, a couple of things here are kind of important musically. Let's take a look at the sheet music. 1, measure 5. Notice you have rests. You play place, park, scene, dark. You want to make sure you actually have rest there. Blow, draw, blow, draw, blow, and you want to make sure not to keep going for 2 beats on that. Womp, 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 womp. You want to have rest in between those. Pretty easy to rest on a harmonica, right? Just stop doing whatever you're doing and it magically rests. But then at measure 8 you have a whole note, so make sure that note lasts the entire time. You're going to hear on the MP3 a bunch of stuff happening. You don't pay attention to that. That's somebody else's job. Your job is to make that whole note meaningful. Okay. Then when we get to measure 11, you've got what we call swing time, right? So we've got a dotted 8th note followed by a 16th, another dotted 8th, 16th, dotted 8th, 16th, dotted 8th, 16th. Sound of kisses floating on a breeze. That's what you're working on. Bum, ba-dum. And the same thing happens in measure 7, right? 7 and 11. Bum, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Right? So make sure that you have the sense of a galloping feel there. That standard notation is pretty important in a harmonica. I don't ask you to learn to read the standard notation because that's what tabs are for, but I want you to be able to look at the standard notation as you're playing the tabs, and that provides you with meaningful information. If I found this tabbed only on the internet, which I'm sure I could find this, it wouldn't tell you any of that stuff. As a musician, you might figure it out, but as a new player, you'd be like, I don't know. I'm just going to play dot 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 done, and that's not what you want to do. However, there are places where we will do that. Measure 26. To my honey, I'll dot 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 done. Done, done. And so I think one of the things that's important to pay attention to, in measure 5, you have quarter note, rest, quarter note, rest. So you want to play it like that. Bump, 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 bump. But when you get to 27, you have 2 half notes. Croon loves tune, right? So you want those to last. Your blowing needs to last for the 2 full beats. What else is interesting musically? When you get to measure 55, you play By the Silvery Moon, stop, and you're going to hear a bunch of noise, blah, 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 and then you got to be back and ready to go at measure 1. But you have nothing to play at measure 1, so don't come in early, obviously. So you have 5 measures off when you do the repeat. You're going to 56, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to play nothing, and you're going to be ready to come in at measure 5. So your return is not very difficult. Your repeat is not very difficult because you don't do anything. You just have to make sure to count correctly. Now for me as a musician, I'm really crummy at counting more than I should ever admit, and so I almost always am really listening for what's going on in the tune right before I need to come in, and I usually just memorize that thing, and then I don't have to lose sleep over if I miscount as I'm going along. This piece is quite countable, so you don't need to worry about it, but on more complex music, it's really easy to get lost in your counting, and that's why using your ears is really important. All right. Let's run through it without a backing track. Then we'll try the slow backing track, see how I do, and then we'll play and then maybe, depending. Well, it's already 7:30. We'll probably just do the slow MP3, just so you get a sense of how to do it. And then I want you to be practicing this week to get it up to the full speed MP3. Okay, let's just give it a try from the top. And you may or may not know this intro because nobody ever plays it, but you'll hear it from me and you'll get pretty close. And a couple places where we are going to push the button in. Remember, as you're holding a chromatic, you can either use your thumb or your index finger, whichever is easy for you to hold it. My concern with a chromatic is you still want to, as much as possible, have a sound chamber in your hands to be able to make your long notes interesting. Okay, so let's give it a try, see what happens. Not fast. Okay, from measure 5, we'll just start right from there. 1, 2. Let's see, is that too slow? That's too slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, 4, keep going, and 17. Sorry, from the pickup to 39, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, repeat, and then we do the whole thing again. Okay, so I did a pretty job playing it, but you got the sense of what it's supposed to be, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the slow MP3, and we're going to see how we do. Okay, so if I click there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, and 4, 2. Here we go. Going to repeat, and that whole beginning section is you don't play, right? So it repeats all the way back to 1, and so then we redo the intro, and then you're going to play the whole thing twice. Now the MP3 slow, that felt really fast to me for some reason, is going to take about 4.5 minutes to play it all the way through, and the MP3 not slow is going to take you 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So either way, you got a whole legit piece of music there that you could take out into the world and share and become a famous harmonica player. And Kat says that was fun. I don't know if it was fun. It felt very stressful to me. But I don't have the song memorized yet, right? And so I'm making a ton of mistakes. Who cares about mistakes when you're reading through something, right? Please don't ever care about mistakes. They're just part of live performance. What we want to do is just have the fewer mistakes is better, obviously, right? And so the way we get that is just to practice a lot. Get where you know what's coming up in the music, where you're reading one measure ahead, those sorts of things. And it is a really pretty piece. It is a really pretty backing track, right? So theoretically, the entire ukulele orchestra is playing, and you're playing the harmonica in front of them. And by the way, on a harmonica, you're louder than 80 ukuleles, and so you can totally become a huge star. You first got to get your own ukulele orchestra together, and then you become the harmonica leader. And so 2-step process. So this week, this piece is done. I'm never going to touch this ever again. Play off the slow one. That's probably next week. That's probably what we will do, is play from the slow one, the speed we just played it. We'll shoot for that next week, and then you guys will let me know, hey, I can go faster. I can totally play it at full speed. The slowed down one, I think I set it at 100, and the full speed one is at 120, if I remember right. So I think that's what you're playing, is about 100, which feels plenty fast enough to me. But then the song lasts 4.5 minutes, and people are going to be like, Is he ever going to shut up? And then let me look at Aloha Oe for a chromatic line this week, and then Shenandoah I think is fine, but it might be too fast, so I might just slow the whole thing down overall. On Shenandoah I changed some of the lyrics so they're goofy. Aloha Oe is pretty much, I've been teaching that song for a decade, so I doubt much is going to change on that other than possibly slowing it down for us. And yeah, so that's our work for this week. I have had 3 weeks with stuff going on the weekend, so I've had a hard time getting stuff done that I want to get done for you guys. But I'm pretty much clear now for a little while. And the only thing I have going is I'm starting orchestras here in New Mexico, and so I'm pretty excited about that. So send me emails if you have any questions. I did get an email from Vic this week with a couple of, at least one song idea, and she sent me stuff in the past. I'm going to try to go through Vic's stuff and see what stuff I can just post and say, here, Vic did this, it's on her, and then what stuff that I feel like we should maybe update to my format, which gives you all this other goofy stuff that we do. So thank you all for checking in with me this week. Thank you for your patience. We're going to keep going. I'm turning Chromatic, Harmonica into the thing. If you're watching the replay of this, which a lot of you do, thank you for that, and know that that's super important to me. It's super cool if you leave a comment that's like, hey, this recording sucks, or whatever. I don't care what you write, but just so that I know you looked at it, and you're all the way 30 minutes into the thing. So Scotland the Brave is lovely. Oh, I have Scotland the Brave that I've been thinking about. So good. All right, guys, have a great week. Play harmonica. Peace.